What if the man America celebrates as a peaceful dreamer was actually a fierce radical whose bold challenges to war, poverty, and capitalism made him one of the most surveilled and controversial figures of his time? Martin Luther King Jr., born Michael King Jr. on January 15, 1929 in Atlanta, Georgia, rose from a segregated South to lead the civil rights movement, delivering his iconic "I Have a Dream" speech to over 250,000 people in 1963 and earning the Nobel Peace Prize at age 35, the youngest recipient ever. But his story isn't just marshes and medals. It's riddled with paradoxes that spark endless curiosity, like how a minister inspired by Gandhi became the FBI's obsession, or why his approval ratings flipped from 63% unfavorable in 1966 to 81% positive impact today, according to Pew Research Center surveys. In this sensational dive into MLK's untold narrative, we'll uncover factual gems backed by historical stats, quotes from icons like Nelson Mandela, and eye-opening data revealing lessons in courage and justice that can empower anyone fighting inequality today. MLK's early life was a blend of privilege and prejudice, setting up paradoxes that defined his path. Born into a middle-class Baptist family, his father, Martin Luther King Sr., was a pastor who changed both their names in 1934 after a trip to Germany. Inspired by the Protestant reformer young Michael, grew up in the Jim Crow South, witnessing lynchings and segregation. Yet, here's the surprise. At age 5, he lost a white playmate to racism when the boy's parents forbade their friendship, an event that fueled his lifelong quest for equality. Skipping grades, MLK entered Morehouse College at 15 in 1944, initially skeptical of ministry due to its emotionalism, as he later wrote in his autobiography. Influenced by theologian Howard Thurman and Mahatma Gandhi's nonviolence, he graduated in 1948 with a sociology degree, then earned a divinity degree from Crozer Theological Seminary in 1951, where he was elected class president of a mostly white institution, and a PhD from Boston University in 1955. But suspense lingers. Allegations of plagiarism in his dissertation, uncovered in the 1990s by Boston University investigators, revealed he borrowed passages without citation, yet the committee deemed it didn't warrant revoking his degree. This human flaw, amid his brilliance, aroused his curiosity. How did such imperfections coexist with his moral authority? As Barack Obama reflected, Dr. King was a man who, like all of us, was flawed, but he harnessed those flaws into a force for good. The spark of activism ignited in 1955 with the Montgomery bus boycott, transforming MLK from pastor to leader overnight. At 26, newly appointed at Dexter Avenue Baptist Church, he was thrust into the spotlight after Rosa Parks' arrest for refusing to give up her seat. Leading the Montgomery Improvement Association, MLK orchestrated a 381-day boycott that crippled the bus system. Statistics show ridership dropped 90%, costing the company thousands daily, and ended with a Supreme Court ruling desegregating buses. Arrested for the first of 29 times, often on trumped-up charges like speeding, MLK faced death threats. In 1956, his home was bombed, yet he urged nonviolence, stating, "If you will protest courageously and yet with dignity and Christian love, future historians will say, there lived a great people of black people who injected new meaning and dignity into the veins of civilization." This paradox preaching peace amid violence captivated the nation. By 1957, he co-founded the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, SCLC, mobilizing churches for civil rights. Nelson Mandela later praised him, saying, "Martin Luther King Jr. is a shining example of the power of nonviolent resistance," highlighting how MLK's strategies inspired global freedom fights. As the movement swelled, Birmingham in 1963 became a turning point, blending sensation and suspense. Facing brutal segregation under Commissioner Bull Connor, MLK led protests where police unleashed dogs and fire hoses on children, images that shocked the world, viewed by millions on TV and shifting public opinion. Imprisoned again, he penned a letter from Birmingham jail, a persuasive masterpiece arguing, "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere," responding the white clergy who called his actions untimely. The campaign forced desegregation agreements, but not without cost. Over 3,000 arrests, including MLK's. That summer's March on Washington drew 250,000, where MLK's "I Have a Dream" speech, partly improvised when gospel singer Mahalia Jackson urged, "Tell them about the dream, Martin," electrified the crowd. Time magazine named him Man of the Year, and in 1964, at 35, he won the Nobel Peace Prize, donating the $54,000 to the movement. Yet, here's the curiosity-provoking twist. While celebrating, FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover labeled him the most notorious liar in the country and launched COINTELPRO surveillance, wiretapping his phones and spreading rumors of affairs to classified files in 2017, revealed alleged recordings of extramarital encounters, though historians debate their authenticity. A 2023 YouGov poll shows 40% of Americans believe most of his dream is realized. Yet racial divides persist, with only 34% saying only some has been achieved. MLK's radical evolution in the mid-1960s added layers of controversy, surprising those who see him only as a racial healer. Opposing the Vietnam War in his 1967 Beyond Vietnam speech at Riverside Church, he called the U.S. the greatest purveyor of violence in the world today, linking militarism to racism and poverty, a stance that alienated allies like President Lyndon Johnson and dropped his approval to 32% favorable in a 1967 Harris poll. Paradoxically, the man who helped pass the 1964 Civil Rights Act and 1965 Voting Rights Act now targeted economic injustice, launching the Poor People's Campaign in 1968 to demand jobs and income for all races. Statistics underscore the need. In 1968, black unemployment was double that of whites at 6.7% versus 3.2%, per Bureau of Labor Statistics. But suspense built amid threats. Stabbed in 1958 by a mentally ill woman during a book signing, he survived a wound that could have been fatal with a sneeze, and MLK knew danger loomed. Oprah Winfrey later reflected, his willingness to speak truth to power, even when it was unpopular, is what makes his legacy so powerful. The final chapter unfolded with triumph and tragedy, keeping audiences on edge. The 1965 Selma to Montgomery March, brutalized on Bloody Sunday, with 600 marchers attacked, led to the Voting Rights Act, registering over 250,000 new black voters by year's end. Yet, urban riots and walks in Chicago highlighted limits of nonviolence, prompting MLK's Chicago Freedom Movement against housing discrimination. In 1968, supporting Memphis sanitation workers, he delivered his prophetic "I've been to the mountaintop" speech, foreshadowing his end. Assassinated on April 4th at the Lorraine Motel by James Earl Ray, his death sparked riots in over 100 cities, causing 46 deaths and thousands injured, per historical records. Coretta Scott King carried on, establishing the King Center. A 2011 Gallup poll showed 94% of Americans viewed him positively, a stark reversal from his lifetime. Martin Luther King Jr. as Untold story weaves heroism with humanity, radicalism with reconciliation, inspiring movements from Black Lives Matter to global protests. With over 900 streets named after him worldwide and his holiday observed in all 50 states since 2000, his influence endures. Yet, as inequalities persist, one wonders, in a divided world, could embracing MLK's full, paradoxical vision, beyond the dream to dismantling systems, unlock the true path to justice? Or does his sanitized image hinder the radical change he sought?